Venus aspecting Pluto. This is really love at its extremes, saying till death do we part and actually meaning it. It's torturous and forbidden passion. It's when you desire so much that it hurts. And really love that knows no boundaries. It's loving to die and dying to love. It is really a compulsion to just attract and collect love. Doesn't it all just sound so fascinating? There's so much fascination surrounding Venus and Pluto together in combination by aspect. So that's what I'm here today to talk to you about. Today we will be considering all of the different combinations of aspects, of major aspects between Venus and Pluto. So if you are interested in learning about that configuration of planets, this particular combination of planets, and how Venus might interact with Pluto, or if you yourself have a Venus-Pluto aspect in your birth chart, then please keep watching. If you're new here, my name is Melissa, your local Capricorn moon. I make videos especially geared towards beginners, and if you are a beginner or if you are open to learning about astrology and you're still very new in your journey, please subscribe to my channel. Welcome. You are always welcome here, and please remember to turn on notifications so that you can be notified every time that I post, which is twice a week. I hope to see you around, and if you are already subscribed, thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here. Now let's get on with this video. Venus aspecting Pluto. So first of all, let's break down what these two planets really mean and what their essence is in astrology. What do they symbolize? What is Venus? What does Venus symbolize? It rules over your relationships, your style of loving and way of being attracted to others, as well as how you attract them. What are the parts of you that really shine whenever you want to attract something or somebody? It's how you attract your desires. And what is it like for you to really desire something, to really want something? It rules over beauty, your ideals, your values, your sense of self-worth. And with Pluto, what does Pluto symbolize and what does it rule over in astrology? It rules over your personal power. It shows what your personal power really looks like and what you have the potential to have power over, but also what you can tend to be a slave toward because you seek so much control over that area. It also rules over any fears you might have surrounding the idea of loss of power and control. So what happens psychologically when you are at risk of losing control or losing your power? It's the drive for control. It is the need to keep hidden what you feel you need to keep hidden, but also what you're trying to master in private. It also rules over obsessions and compulsions. So what can really happen when we combine these two planets? A planet like Venus that is very, on its own, very accommodating, very pleasing, very harmonious and sociable and, lighthearted and just very surface level for sure. Can be very superficial, the energies of Venus. And with Pluto, it is so not that. It is so not superficial. It goes deep within, deeper than anybody really wants to go, deeper than most people are really comfortable with. And it's a lot deeper than Venus on its own would like to explore. So Venus is all about, surface level conversations or surface level flirting and, simple back and forth relationships. And Pluto takes it a million steps further than that, and it says let's go deeper and let me really see the darker side of you. And where Venus wants to just kind of ignore the dark side or like make it pretty, Pluto will say forget that and show me all of the raw unfiltered sides of you or parts of you that you will not share with anybody else. There's so much more of a need to have life-changing experiences in your relationships and with life-changing people or partners that you'll want to be with or you will attract. So Pluto really adds depth to Venus and makes it a lot heavier, just a lot, just so much. Anyone with Venus-Pluto aspects has probably been told that they were, too much. You were a little bit too much for me. I think the beauty in Venus-Pluto people is that they love so deeply. They love so much more than you would expect. they love so much more of you than you would expect, or so much more than you would probably be even comfortable with. Label that whatever you want, whether that's too much or it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but that is the way that they love. And it goes to extreme, it goes to hell and back, and it dies a million times so that it can be renewed. You know, that's the type of love that they have. Now, starting with the conjunction between Venus and Pluto, your heart is really embodied by Plutonian themes. For you to love someone means to really just die for them, to give your all to them, or to go the other extreme and just completely possess and control and have the upper hand with this person so that you don't end up losing them. This is really the most extreme version of any kind of Venus-Pluto aspect, along with the opposition. And the compulsion, like I mentioned earlier, the compulsion to collect and attract love is especially strong with this aspect and with the opposition. For you, love really means that you need to die or transform in order to live again, in order to renew your love, because love needs to keep renewing itself. Sometimes it needs to be cut short or sort of starved in a way in order for it to keep staying alive. You know, it's very extreme with this aspect, with this Pluto's influence on Venus. There can be obsessive, possessive, jealous tendencies with Venus conjunct Pluto. There is less of that purity of Venusian love. There is less of that innocence here of you know, purely loving somebody. Venus on its own is just merely all about relating to people, you know, all kinds of people. It doesn't even necessarily have to be romantic, but with Pluto's influence, there is less of that innocence and purity of Venus, and it's turned into a much more forbidden and dark energy. You seek to really possess and fully control your relationships. In no way will you be surrendering to your relationships or to your partner or to the idea of love. Although, strangely enough, trying to compulsively control your relationships or your partners is actually giving up your own power. You know, believe it or not, you are actually putting yourself at the mercy of your relationships by doing that, because you are letting it actually control you by not surrendering, by not ever being able to relinquish control over the people around you or the people that you love. With Venus conjunct Pluto, you really value the darkness in life and in people. You know, wherever there is beauty to be found, you can really see look into the darkness, look into what most people will fear or turn away from, and really see beauty in that. You see beauty and really admire the mystery, the hidden side of life and of people. That includes their deeper psychological workings, their unconscious, their insecurities, their fears. Again, what most people will try to hide, you really look for that and you see beauty in it. You have full control over your desires. Your way of desiring, or the way, whenever it is that you desire something, it's very magnetic, and you have a way of just attracting anything that it is that you desire, because it's so strong, so incredibly strong. And in your relationships, you will always strive to have the upper hand at all times. With Venus sextile to Pluto, this aspect is still very intense. It's still a very intense kind of loving. All of the Venus-Pluto aspects are intense, but it's a little bit more free-flowing for sure. Sort of easier to let go of relationships or of people, and you don't have as much of a strong hold on them as the other aspects. And it makes you also a little bit less possessive, a little less jealous, but you know, still very passionate about love, about people. And you know how to positively transform your relationships in a much more healthier and constructive way, not in a way that is, you know, sort of torture for both of you. Your passion and commitment to your relationships is beautiful, and there's a harmonizing blending between cooperation versus control, and what you value in yourself versus what you value in others. So those two parts of you are very much harmonizing, and you know how to accommodate both sides. Also boosts your powers of attraction. There is sort of a hypnotic or mesmerizing quality to your love, as well as the type of beauty or attraction that you possess. Others can really fall under your spell to surrender to you, and you also have a very strong control over your own sexual power and your own sexual desires. This also makes it really easy for you to make big money. Venus and Pluto are two of the biggest money planets in astrology. With Venus quincunx Pluto, there is sort of this discomfort or lack of being able to reconcile love and power. There is an awkwardness in learning how to exercise power in your relationships. It might be something you're not very completely comfortable with, or something you just haven't necessarily cultivated in your relationships, is how to exercise your own power, or in attracting others as well. There might be a denial of love, a denial of self-worth, and you might have a tendency to look for relationships that are sort of unequal somehow, whether you be the one serving, like just always serving the other person, or them always serving you. There is that unequal partnership there, and you might also be seduced by people who are really out of your league, people who you don't necessarily feel like you deserve, or when you do get them or attract them, because there can be a denial of self-worth, or feeling like you deserve this person because of that unequal thing that's happening, that attraction towards unequal partnership. It's like you'll just feel like you don't really deserve them, or that you don't really know how to please them, or how to really navigate relationships, that the types of relationships that you do attract, or which you are attracted towards. There's a lot of that compulsion in relationships that I mentioned earlier, a compulsion towards starting relationships or being attracted compulsively to different people, but it's just like never satisfying for you. It's never what you really want. It never ends up being what you really want once you do get it. With Venus square to Pluto, your powers of attraction can feel blocked. It can feel challenged in some way. There is a pushiness in how you get your way, in how you attract others. It's very, very aggressive. And the desire to control others is also very much present, out of selfishness. A desire to control others just for the sake of having the upper hand, of having a sort of unhealthy relationship with power. There can also be a constant inner sexual or romantic frustration. You're someone who is extremely passionate in your relationships and has really strong desires, and you will fight for those desires until you get it. There's really no stopping you because they're so strong. You can also torture yourself by wanting or just constantly desiring things that are forbidden, that are just, are not good for you. So you can have secret passions, secret desires. There's a love of the taboo, a love of the forbidden, but somehow people just don't really understand that. And I think with the easier aspects, the trine and the sextile, they can also lean towards desiring taboo things, but they're able to attract it. They're able to magnetize with that desire and attract those desires, because somehow it's a little bit easier or socially acceptable when they do it, or other people seem to understand it more or seem to submit to that better than when it comes from the Venus square Pluto person. Although you have really strong desires, like I mentioned, you feel like you have to fight the urge to deny them, to just completely deny those strong desires out of perhaps a guilt of it, out of a denial, out of just wanting to be able to control them, because there is still that desire to control yourself, control your desires no matter how strong they are, which can lead to that frustration that I mentioned earlier with this aspect of either a romantic or sexual frustration. You can also starve yourself of love, out of love and out of worthiness, because there is that denial of giving into your desires and submitting to them and really following them. That can lead to starving yourself of love, of just torturing yourself, of just continually wanting what you cannot have, or what is not good for you, what you should not pursue or try to attract. When that happens, you can feel not worthy of it, or you can sort of mind yourself into thinking you're not worthy of your desires, or you're not worthy of love. And with Venus opposite to Pluto, there is a leaning toward volatile and unpredictable relationships, or you might have a volatile or unpredictable love style. You're either highly cooperative and giving of others, or the complete opposite and lean towards the Pluto way, which is selfish and controlling. It's never in between. It's hard for you to balance the two unless you really put in the work to try to compromise those two sides of this opposition. Just depending on the day, there's no in between those things. When one side is in play, the other is rejected and disowned. So again, it's just hard for you to balance those two sides of you, because it can just go either extreme. Like when you are playing that giving role, you attract partners who continuously take, who are continuously trying to have the upper hand over you. And when you are playing the selfish role, or the taker, you attract partners who are too giving and who are, too accommodating towards you, people who let you step all over them. So there's a struggle to find the balance between giving and taking, between love and lust. There's also the issue of projection with this aspect. You can project your suspicions onto others. Because of that, you might experience your relationships or your partners as being extremely possessive or jealous. They might actually just be projections of your worries, your fears, your insecurities. That's usually what tends to happen with oppositions, the phenomena of projecting onto others and sort of having this push-pull effect, because when you yourself cannot balance those two sides of you, or balance those two planets' energies, it comes out in your relationships, and you will attract people with whom there is that seesaw effect. When one side is owned or acted out by you, the other side, or the other planet in that opposition, is rejected, and it's projected onto another person. There's also a highly polarizing effect that happens with your partners, where you either completely 100% love them, or you completely 100% hate them, or they might either love you or hate you. So again, this is the opposition is also one of the most extreme aspects, along with the conjunction for Venus and Pluto. So I hope that cleared up some things about Venus-Pluto aspects. I hope it made some kind of sense, figuring out how these two very different planets, energy-wise, how they might play off of each other, how they might affect each other if they are involved in an aspect. So if that made sense, or if you learned something from this video, please give this video a thumbs up. It really supports my channel, and I really appreciate every single one of you who do that. Comment below and share any stories or things that you would like to share about having a Venus-Pluto aspect, if you have one, or if you know somebody who has one. We all love learning about Venus and Pluto together. It's just one of those things that I think a lot of people are really interested in learning about astrology. So please share, so that we can all learn from each other and see if we can share in the similar experiences. So remember to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications if you'd like to learn more about astrology. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.